Hi everyone, it's Alexandra. Hope you're having an awesome day. So today's video is productivity and self-worth and being a revolutionary. So productivity and self-worth. I find it so interesting because our culture is so fascinated and obsessed with productivity. And I like to get things done and be productive. Those are all great qualities. But just this need to always be doing something is very interesting. And I think our productivity is linked to our self-worth a lot of times. Like if we're not doing something, then we don't feel like we're good enough or we're doing enough. And then also net worth is also tied to our self-worth too. Like if we're not making a lot of money doing something, then we feel like we're not worth it. You know, if we have a job, but then we make, I don't know, pottery on the side and we're sometimes get money, sometimes we don't. Like it doesn't really count because we're not making money. So it's like this idea of you have to make money and focusing on money and productivity. And then I think what happens when we do that is that we take away some of our creativity and our play just to do things because we want to do it, not because it's going to increase our net worth or make us look awesome or some extrinsic goal. I think when we get so focused on productivity that we miss out on self-care too, like rest and play and creativity and hobbies and eating well, taking time to eat well and things like that. Like those things just fall to the side because we are always about being productive and efficient. And those are great things. I love them. But I think as a culture, we don't value self-care as much. And you can look at what the culture values about what people do and what they don't do. But people aren't getting enough rest. Like people are exhausted in our culture. They're not eating well. They're not taking time for that. Not moving. They're like a hobby. What are you talking about? Have you seen my to-do list? And there's just this like drive to be busy, like, and to be overwhelmed. And I think that is just, we are always, I think Brene Brown talks about this, like on the hustle, like hustling for our self-worth. It's not because we actually feel intrinsically motivated. It's because we just feel like we need to do more. And if we need more of that approval and things like that. So this was a huge shift for me into motherhood. Like I was definitely more of productive, but I've always taken time for self-care. But I just see it so clearly now of productivity and net worth are just not, they're important aspects of life, but so is sleep and so is taking care of yourself. Like those are equally as important. And I think we need to hold both of them. And if you are going to rest and take care of yourself and eat well and, focus on the fundamentals of, being a radiantly happy, healthy person, then you truly are a revolutionary person. It's a revolutionary act to do those things, to say that I want to get sleep. There's a lot of, I used to get made fun of a lot because in my earlier days and 20s and stuff, because I would want to get my sleep and I would want to work out and I would want to eat well and I'd bring food with me and people were like, you're always trying to be healthy and la la la. And I'm like, what? Come on. But Krishnamurti comes to mind. Again, I say this quote over and over, is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And that's not even being negative. It's just, we do have a negative society that does not, an ill society in many ways. So for us to really rise up and say my self-care is important, my rest is important, my play is important, my creativity is important, whether I get paid for it or not, like it creates meaning and joy for me and I'm going to do it. I think the more that we step into this, we're going to feel better about ourselves. And if we look to culture, there's always some reason to not feel good enough. And as I say that, I'm thinking of Sarah McLachlan. What's the song? There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my bones, veins, and let me be empty, weightless, something about peace tonight. I think of that song sometimes when I'm feeling not good enough, because like I said, if we're looking out, we're always going to want that distraction because we don't feel good enough. And then we look to culture to look and compare, like we're always going to not feel good enough. We're going to feel guilty for doing certain things. So this is really just about not allowing ourselves to feel guilty for doing things that make us come alive, for doing things that give us energy and vitality, even if nobody else in the culture is doing it. Like, I just think we need more people to be willing to be revolutionaries of saying, no, this is important. The health of our society, the health of our bodies, of our families, of our communities is important. And it isn't hustling all the time. It's not working all the time. It's not taking time to take breaks and enjoy nature and anything that gives us rejuvenation and helps us boost our life force. So I get pretty passionate about this. And it's not an either or, but I do think we need to balance it. And I think, you need to check in with yourself. I do this often. How do I feel on the productivity? Because I do think that's important, obviously, to be successful in whatever it is for you that you want to be successful in. But then how do you balance that with your self-care? And are those balanced? And if they're not, then take some time to figure out how to shift your schedule, to change your life around, and to give those things credit, because they are so important for all of us to feel awesome. Like, just think about when you get a really great night of sleep and when you don't, when you exercise, when you eat crappy food. Like, just notice that and imagine the world, like if everybody was sleeping well, eating, committed to living a virtuous life and doing things because they love to do them and being creative and playing, like we would just live in a different world. So that is my thoughts today. Productivity, self-worth, checking in on both of those for you. Noticing when you're feeling not good enough, what's driving you. If you're really loving what you're doing, or you're hustling to try to get more approval, or hustling to be productive and to have more self-worth by showing what you do. And then also your self-care. How are you doing with that in your day-to-day basis? Is there anything that you'd want to shift, change, add more of, do less of, etc., etc.? And sing. My spontaneous singing today. I definitely recommend singing and dancing as well, and laughing. All right. Sending you lots of love. Mwah.